Well, let's talk about the Osmo Action. So now I'm going to give you a constant stream of consciousness about what I like and dislike about these cameras, and then I'm going to hope that I'm going to be able to edit something usable out of it after the fact. So things I like about the Osmo Action over the GoPro: it has a much better mount for ND filters. It just screws on, screws off, although I will say they are incredibly tight to get the filter off the first time, or the cover. It's really, really difficult. I do really like the front-facing screen. I didn't think I would care about it that much because these cameras typically have such a wide field of view, but the front-facing screen is really nice. I like that the Osmo Action gives you the ability to set your shutter speed and your interval time in the time-lapse mode. It's great because you can create really nice, assuming you have ND filters, a really nice blur in the time-lapse, which is something that GoPro doesn't really do. It does it okay, I think, with an algorithm maybe, but it's not as good as I would like. I like that more fine level of control. Sony, it doesn't do a time-lapse at all. I mean, not at all. I mean, you can do it, but then you have to assemble all the pictures later. Where am I going? Somewhere. I don't really want to go through all of that, so we're gonna go over there. I'm gonna get down to the gravel. The Osmo does a great job of de-warping with Rocksteady on in 4K, which is fantastic. And it has a much better battery life. Now, the battery life, we'll have to see how it does in the cold when I do my winter stuff, because GoPro definitely does a good job of that, but the Osmo Action right now has much better battery life. And I do like the fact that the battery and the battery door are one piece. It just makes it nice to be able to swap them out and not worry about it. Having access to the SD card off to the side without having to remove the battery, I kind of like that too. Obviously, the GoPro, if you're going to put an external mic in, you have to put a huge dongle that's almost as big as the GoPro itself, and it's expensive at $50. Whereas the Osmo Action, from what I understand, it'll be basically a USB to 3.5mm audio jack, which will be great. And I think there's already some third-party ones out there. I'm doing this to document in case I fall through the snow here. At least they'll know what happened to me. And whoever finds this, you know, if you could post this review, that'd be great. I'd appreciate that. Thanks. Some things I like about the GoPro Hero 7 Black over the Osmo Action and the Sony: it gives you more fine-tuned control over some of your picture settings, especially like sharpness, which I really prefer because I don't like a super duper sharpened image out of the camera. I prefer to sharpen it myself in post. I'd say right now too, I also slightly prefer the GoPro colors. For anything other than this sort of stuff, talking head type stuff, it makes you a little bit orange, but other than that, it's not bad. I think GoPro gets their exposure maybe slightly better. And then when you're filming from the back side of the GoPro, there's a lot less delay than there is on the Osmo Action. The other thing that I find that GoPro has that Osmo Action doesn't is the time warp hyperlapse type feature, which is actually really great and really excellent. Even if you're just hand holding it, it's absolutely fantastic. For the audio, I would say they're about the same. Neither one is really great. They're not terrible, but they're not fantastic either. The Sony, I think, still has the most natural looking image, the most natural colors. I think that the image stabilization also really is one of the more natural ones because of the way it stabilizes. It has an actual physical stabilization system. And so you do get some natural motion, but it's really smoothed out and it's made, I think, quite nice. I will say, I think by far the Sony has the best low light performance, partly due to the fact that because of its physical balanced steady shot system, it can still stabilize in low light. But I do think that Sony has done something better with their sensor to get better low light performance. The way they process the noise or sharpness or something, to me, it's the most pleasing. The worst to me is the Osmo Action for noise, and then second would be the GoPro. Sony is just doing great, in my opinion. The things I don't like about the Osmo Action: it doesn't have a hyperlapse feature, which I think is weird because they have a hyperlapse feature on a lot of their other products, so I imagine that they could just add that in over an update. The Rocksteady is by far the best electronic image stabilization there is, but it comes with a caveat. in that it's taking so much processing power to process the image that it causes considerable delay on the screen in the back. And I assume that's because it's loading the image into RAM or something like that and then processing it through an algorithm to stabilize it, because it does an incredible job, much better than any other action camera. But it does cause considerable delay on the screen, and so you just have to be aware of that. Some people have complained about the audio losing sync after a while. I haven't had that problem, but I haven't recorded like, you know, half an hour straight or anything like that. In regular light, bright daylight settings, which is where these perform. Oh, yeah. If you want to see my review of the GoPro Hero 7, the downsides of the GoPro over the Osmo Action: the battery doesn't last as long. It definitely is a shorter battery life. It seems to freeze up right now more than the GoPro does, or than the Osmo Action does. Although that, you know, remains to be seen. I haven't had the Action as long as I've had the GoPro, so there's that. And of course, it has a smaller screen than the Osmo Action, but I haven't really found that to be a problem. I do like GoPro's layout better as far as their menu functions and getting around and navigating around their menu. I think GoPro really shows in some of the refinements like that and some of the picture quality aspects for how it handles noise and how it handles sharpness. I think the GoPro shows that it's been on the market for a little bit longer. The Osmo Action, we'll have to see. I hope you all appreciate what I go through to do these reviews. I mean, I enjoy it, but it's a lot of work. And sometimes I wonder if it's worth it. But you get to see some nice places, so. And sometimes you even get to see cool places with nice weather. Like when I did my Rode Wireless Go review, linked right up there. I still do like the Sony best, like as a vlogging rig, because it gives you natural motion. You can plug an external mic in. It's really nice that way. I still don't know which one of these cameras to look at, but if you would like to see my reviews of the GoPro and the Sony, then you can click or tap right here. If you want to see some of my best settings for action cameras, click or tap right here in good light, low light, everything else, social things, media things. I'll see you again soon in the next video.